guys, what is up? My name's Emina and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So if you clicked on this video, then you are interested in learning about my experience working for the XFL BattleHawks this 2020 season. If you're a friend of mine, I'm sure you've seen on my Instagram stories me posting a lot about the team on the field and etc. A lot of you guys have asked how I've gotten the job or what it's like working for them, so I'm going to tell you all the details that I can in this video. So I'm going to start off first with how I actually got the job. So I'm a big believer in just going for it, trying your hardest to get a position that you want, and whatever happens, happens for a reason. So I just changed my mindset a little bit to tell myself that I need to make more connections because I did not know what I wanted to do when I came into college. Now I am a freshman in college. I'm just finishing my second semester. However, I'm graduating a whole year early, so I'm gonna have less time to make connections with people that I need and things that I will need for my future. So I actually had to take a required class for business, and through that class I had to meet up with a professor in the business school who was engaged in my major, which is marketing. However, at the time I had not added on my sports marketing minor, but I did have an interest in it, and I told my professor that so she could hook me up with someone who had details and could tell me or lead me into that direction as well. When I met up with this professor to complete my assignment, he led me to a few connections of people that I can reach out to for my future job wishes, desires kind of thing, and to kind of see more where my field actually lies and where my expertise lie. But he also helped me by telling me clubs that I can join that would be very beneficial for my major and or potential minor. So two of the clubs that he suggested were Marketing Club, and then the other one was the Sports Business Association. So I emailed the Sports Business Association president, and I just got on their email list because I hadn't gone to a meeting yet. Meetings were on Thursdays. Thursday already passed. I just wanted to get on their email list, and that was enough for me to be able to get their threads, what they were sending out to the club, etc. So when I got onto their email thread, they actually sent out a bunch of jobs and a bunch of internships, but a lot of them were for upperclassmen, which doesn't really apply for me at this point. However, a lot of the internships and the job opportunities were amazing, so I just made sure to keep checking my emails to see if they put out anything that would potentially apply to me, and I was going to apply for anything really, any internship, any part-time job, just so I can get more experience and more on my resume. Not only that, but I didn't know at the time if I wanted to go into sports business as a minor or a major at all, so I thought that would also help narrow it down. So I kept up with the email threads, and the president or the secretary, whoever, sent out a thread from, I believe it's the company that actually pays their employees, but they were looking for workers for the 2020 upcoming season. The season hadn't started yet. The first game, I believe, was in February, really towards the end of February. So I actually applied really early on in February, but it was basically last minute that they were looking for people to help. They wanted college students, and they recruited most of their students from Lindenwood and Maryville because Maryville has a very big sports business program, and Lindenwood as well. However, a few of us from St. Louis University did end up applying for the job and getting it as well. In my experience, it was a little difficult getting into contact with the manager, like the hiring manager for the XFL BattleHawks. I did have a lot of trouble reaching her, but it was also very last minute because of how I got all the news and when I got all the information, so I don't blame her. I just think that I had to wait for promised things, such as like a phone call never being received, and I was actually not supposed to work the first game according to the hiring manager, but I had already signed my contract and everything from my, I don't know how to explain this. There are two separate groups. So the XFL BattleHawks isn't the actual people who pay us. We are paid by Ming Entertainment, and they are in California. So Ming Entertainment told me that I was working the first game. I already got my contract ready and everything, but the hiring manager for the actual BattleHawks told me I wasn't. So I was a little confused. The communication wasn't really there, but I do know a lot of people didn't have the same issues as I did, but I also do know a lot of them did. So it was just a communication issue, but I'm not surprised considering this is just the first season that the BattleHawks are in St. Louis. So I'm not pointing fingers or blaming anyone. It just happened. I got through it. I still worked, so I am all good. So once I got over that whole entire scenario, I found out that I was working the first game. There was preparation involved. I had to go to a meeting to basically learn what we were going to do in a fast-tracked pace. So we learned all of the positions available for that game day in like an hour, and that is really hard considering that you're not going to work every single position. You're going to be in 1 or 2 positions per game day, and you're learning all of these positions. And I was like, oh my god, I'm so stressed out. I was like obviously very scared. I didn't want to mess up my job, etc., but it ended up being just fine. It was actually really cool because we were basically in like the we were in the Luz Fuse Athletic Center, and that is where like the locker rooms were for the BattleHawks, like where they like I guess trained. I'm not really sure, don't yell at me for that, but it was pretty awesome. So in that 1-hour meeting, we just signed a contract saying basically like if we hurt ourselves, we can't sue, etc. And we just ran over the rules really fast of game day. That was that for that meeting. However, our first game day was on a Sunday, and we had to actually arrive on Saturday, the day before, at the Dome, which is where the BattleHawks play. That's their home. And we had to basically run around and make sure that everything was as ready as could be for Sunday. So something that I found very cool for the BattleHawks is that they really wanted fan experience to be a major asset for the BattleHawks. They wanted all the fans to be enjoying themselves and to have a great time, to be able to tell other people, you know, we had a great time, there was nothing really, there was no hiccups, etc., etc. So we really wanted the fan experience to be amazing, which is where all of the game day staff basically came into play. So on that Saturday, we basically put out rally towels at every single entrance that fans would be coming into, scanning their tickets. Everyone got a free rally towel. A lot of people didn't get rally towels just because they ran out in certain entries. However, majority people did, and if they didn't get them, they usually found some towards the end of the game or something like that. However, every single rally towel was designed for that specific game day. I thought it was really cool. We had over 29,000 fans come for the first game, and we had 30,000 rally towels. So they were these big huge boxes, and we had to basically carry them from one room all over the dome to all the entries. It was crazy heavy. This was also cool because this was like the second time that we were seeing some of the game day staff people, because we didn't really all know each other. A lot of people came from different schools. There were 3 main schools there, like I said, Maryville, Lindenwood, and St. Louis University. So we were all just getting to know each other. It was a really cool experience for those 2 days, just to get to know everyone and start setting up for the game that was happening on Sunday. Sunday's game day was really crazy because it was the first game in St. Louis for football since the Rams left, and this was a very major big deal for St. Louis fans, and we definitely showed up and showed out. So a lot of people actually don't know that game day staff work about 2 to 3 times as long as the games usually are. So that first Sunday when we had an XFL game at the Dome, we were there at 9 in the morning, but the game actually started at 2 o'clock and only went until like 5:30, and we had to stay until 8. So that just shows you how long our work day is. Every single game day that I worked, which was only actually 2 because of the virus and everything, we were there for 8 to 9 hours, while games are only 3.5 about. So we arrive at 9 o'clock in the morning on that Sunday, and the first thing we do is check in. We get our badges, we hang those around our neck. They basically tell each person, each security guard in the building, each member who works, etc., where every single individual person can be. So some passes had field access, some did not. So restrictions basically. Each field pass was different based on our jobs. So there are a lot of jobs to make sure that game day goes perfectly. I'm not going to say all of them just because I don't even remember all of them, but I do know what I worked obviously, and I will explain my role as those two positions. Since this was like the first game in St. Louis since the Rams, it was a little hectic because we did not know how to make sure it ran smoothly 100%, and it's not always going to run smoothly 100%. There's going to be hiccups somewhere, but we wanted to reduce those as much as possible for the fans. So our day actually started when 3 different high school bands came to basically lead a parade, and for that parade we closed down like some streets and lined up those 3 schools, and as a worker we lined the sides of the band members. So we are now walking through the streets on this parade kind of thing, and a lot of people are already there. This is around like 10, maybe 10:30, 11, and a lot of people are already there for tailgating, and tailgating was insane. Just insane. If you want to see any videos of tailgating, there are Instagram accounts created just specifically for them, or you can probably go on the XFL BattleHawks Instagram and see a lot of the things that people did for tailgating. It was insane. So back to the bands. We walked the bands through the parade and settled them into their corner, and then we, the game day staff members, had to basically act as metal gates. So I don't even know how to explain this, but there were like these metal railings that you can place and move, whatever, but there was only so much of them. So we actually had to place ourselves between the crowd and the space where the players were going to be walking off of their bus through the crowd basically and into the dome. So we had to act as security guards. As a 5'4", 120 weight girl, I was just kind of like, okay, well, we gotta try our best now, Emina, don't we? It worked out great though. So I was like really close to the players, obviously. So then the players walked through, everyone was so hyped, and I thought it was really cool that the players were actually wearing Blues jerseys to represent a different sports team from St. Louis, and then for game 2 they wore like Cardinals jerseys. So I thought that was really, really awesome. After the players walked through, the game day staff members went back into the dome, and the fans stayed outside to tailgate until about 12:30 when people would start walking in to get themselves checked in. So this is where one of my jobs actually came into place. I was the VIP tour guide. There were VIP access tickets for fans, and those people got to actually walk the field for about 15 minutes, take pictures, watch the players warm up, etc. So I was one of the tour guides, and I made sure that they didn't run off onto the field, and that's another like very tricky place for me, just considering I'm such a small person. Like the fact that I would have to go tackle someone if they ran off onto the field is like crazy for me to think about, but if it happened I would have to do it. So I mentally prepared myself, but thankfully I didn't actually have to do it. So I would walk large groups of people because there were 300 on the first day, and for 4 or 3 game day staff members to be working that, it was hectic. It starts off very smoothly, but then more people come in, and it just starts getting very hectic, very messy, and there are things all over the field where you can trip on, run into cameras. You know, you don't want to be in the way of Fox Sports like filming and stuff like that. So it did get hectic at some times, and it did get stressful, but I found it a very rewarding job considering that I was able to be on the field at all times. I had field access. It just makes you feel more superior to have that written on your ID. So I was very thankful. I could not complain at all, and I was able to make more connections with the fans and also other people who worked for the XFL because I kept running into them and I had to be able to talk to them. So that was very rewarding for me, I'm not gonna even lie. Plus I ran into a lot of people that I knew because they would be standing up in the stands and they would see me on the field and they would like like say hi to me, they would scream my name. So it was fun to see people that I hadn't seen in a very long time there as well. So VIP tours happened prior to the game starting, and then after the game actually started, there would be no fans on the field other than the families of the players. So once the game started, I was actually able to go get my lunch, which was hectic because I did have to stand in the same lines that all the fans had to stand in, and those were very, very long, and it took about half an hour to get my food. So that is definitely one of the places where we as a team can improve for future games and future seasons, making sure that the lines go more smoothly and quicker too. One thing that I did not prepare for my first job was the amount of catcalls that I would get. Not gonna lie, it did suck. I don't like that kind of attention, and especially from guys that are a lot older than me and a lot more drunk than I was in that moment. So after lunch, I was deployed to my second job, and that was actually to work in the suites. So basically the suites have their own level, but I was just there if they needed anything, if they had any questions. And to be honest, I didn't do anything because no one asked me anything, no one asked anyone anything, so they were just enjoying themselves. I really don't know why so many of us were deployed up there, but it's fine because I actually got to meet some people from the Fontbonne soccer team, shout out to you guys, and they were also working the event. We got to chat a little and it was nice. After the game was over, I helped out with player autographs. I don't know how to explain it, but some select players were doing after game autographs, so I made sure that the lines were nice and easy, clear, that fans got where they had to go, etc. And that honestly led up to basically like 8 o'clock. So I didn't leave until then, but like I said, it was a very rewarding experience, a very rewarding day. So for the second game day, instead of working the suites, I and a bunch of other people actually, they wanted more people on the field to hype up the crowds. So we were basically cheerleaders without the poms. We had our rally towels and we were like, I don't even know. We had fun though. A bunch of game day staff members were on the field hyping up the crowd. I think all of us were actually on the field hyping up the crowd, just because we had about 2,000 less in attendance because the first game is a lot more popular than the second. So we wanted to keep the energy the same. We wanted to keep hyping up everyone, and definitely worked in our favor because I think the crowd had a lot more fun, and I definitely know that the game day staff had a lot more fun being on the field in the crowds. So summed up, that is my experience working for the XFL. I would just say if you want to get the experiences that your university gives for you, just make sure that you're seeking out all the opportunities that you can, make connections with professors, make connections with people that you think would be valuable for you, and they will be willing to help you. That's the thing that I think a lot of people need to realize. Professors at universities do a lot more than teach. They are there for connections and they know a lot more people than you do. And one thing that I think I learned a lot through all the jobs that I've held this past year as a freshman in university, it's sometimes not about what you know, sometimes it's about who you know. If I had never gone to this professor and asked, you know, who he knows and what he suggests I join as in like clubs in my university, I never would have had the opportunity to do this. So definitely seek out different opportunities for yourself. My advice is to not say no. You know, you never know where a certain opportunity is going to take you. Like I said, I wasn't getting calls from the hiring manager like I was supposed to. So I made calls myself to people and I emailed a bunch of different people to make sure that I was getting the information that I needed. Because at the end of the day, like, no one's gonna do it for you. You know, you need to sometimes step out of your boundaries and ask the right questions for yourself. So make sure to join the clubs, make sure to call the people that you need to call, have phone interviews, interview them, ask them what their experiences are, make those connections. It's so, so important. And honestly, everything's gonna fall into place, don't worry. I also did get an email, and all of the game day staff members were invited to work the 2021 season, so that is very exciting to be able to get another opportunity to actually play and work a full season for them. So that is going to be so exciting for me and such another amazing opportunity that I'm going to definitely take. On top of that, just knowing that this was something that I was able to do, it also helped me figure out what I want to do in my future. And since then, I have actually added on a sports business minor. So I am working now for a marketing major and a sports business minor, and I'm still only completing that in 3 years. So make sure you set your goals, adjust them if you need to, and just go for them. I hope this video helped you guys get the information that you need and the motivation, most importantly, because that is what I am trying to let you guys know you need the most: motivation. If you're motivated, you can do anything. Don't let anything stop you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, give it a big thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already. I will see you guys next time. I love you.